This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemon's build.
It does car-like things. I've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
And welcome to Lemon's Car Spotting. This is basically the show, such as it is on the internet, where we talk about crappy cars that you see on the internet, on the street, in real life. You get it. Anyway, tag them Lemon's Car Spotting. I'm Eric. That's Nick. I pointed in the right direction. I'm proud of myself. And basically what we do, we pick two cars at the end, one that we want to see in Lemons and one we think is the hooptiest.
Yep. And to select that, I've got the Lemons build here and the hooptiest here. I'm selecting for Eric. Eric, close your eyes. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
You know?
Yeah, there was some rocking going on.
I always it freaks me out. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, you're the Lemons world. I'm the hooptiest. Let's get going.
Super into that one.
Yeah. Well, you got to put your back into it.
That's right.
That's what makes it fair.
Wow.
Oh, what?
All right, so we need the comment section.
Yeah,
here.
We have to cheat already and go to the comment section, which apparently says it's a Kia Borrego.
The Kia Borrego.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, we have spent a lot of time talking about the genericness of the vast pantheon of General Motors SUVs, and this just goes to show you that other manufacturers are not exempt from making something totally generic and boring. And I mean, what is there to say?
Here's the thing about Kia and Hyundais. They're always like, they're building the Dollar General, the store brand version of stuff, basically is what they're doing. So you kind of got to think about this in what is this knocking off? I see some Ford Escape in there, maybe.
Yeah. I got a little Chrysler Pacifica,
with the nose.
Yeah.
And then the roof bars like an Xterra. There you go. We solved.
There you go. Speaking of Dollar Brand, they're at the Dollar Brand version of the Dollar Tree in the background. It's like save big with Joe.
By the way, looking for a theme for your Lemons car. I mean, the Dollar General theme or the Dollar Store theme. Kind of an easy one.
Great livery.
The $500 store.
There you go.
Done
and done. All right. Next up. Oh, man.
The Lark? Yeah.
Yeah. Studebaker Lark wagon. This has the appearance of I just need to fix the left rear wheel bearing. And then that was in 1975.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot happening here. Lark, kind of a cool looking car. One of the early American compacts. The first one with a V8 is an option, actually. And they got a 259 in it.
Sweet.
This one looks a little bit more pedestrian.
Yeah, it's got, I don't know. I don't know how you tell the trim differences, but it's got a very middle of the road. This is just a regular car vibe going for it. I'm looking at the roof bars. Those look kind of modern, which indicates that this thing was being driven as a normal car, maybe more recently than 1975.
I could see that. Yeah. I can't tell if it has the patented blanket interior, but it kind of looks like it. So it's, I'm sure it's all tore up, but they've thrown the blanket over it. So,
yeah. Studebaker has some kind of spectacular IOE record. For a time it was 100%, which, the sample size was relatively small, but, bring this to a Lemon race, you're going to win an award.
Yeah, it is. I believe it is still 100%.
Yeah.
I think the one Lark that raced in Lemons won an IOE, but definitely the Studebaker Hawk that NSF had, the Avante.
Yeah.
And there's another one that I am not placing, but 100%.
Studebaker Lark that races in Lemons is, I don't know if it's my favorite of the three, but it's notable for the fact that it's got a giant paper mache bird on the roof, which I really enjoy.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. All right. Oh man.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Now we're talking. The obvious joke would be Fast and Furious, Stance Nation, et cetera, et cetera. There is. This is kind of crossing over into that mini truck aesthetic where, like, I'm not sure that this is intentional, but there is sort of a vibe of like, oh, it's intentionally crappy. And it kind of ties in with like the air-cooled Volkswagen, super slammed and just kind of like zipped together with zip ties kind of vibe. So,
yeah, this one's definitely lowered, and
Yeah.
The floating headlights are a nice feature.
Yeah.
And the drooping front bumper cover
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah, it's nice. Probably runs fine. That's the thing about Honda.
It either runs fine or it's in the middle of a B swap.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
one or the other.
Yep.
And the middle of the B swap is a great way to buy a Lemons car if you don't mind finishing the B swap.
That is true. Judge Phil from Lemons had a D-powered Civic and then acquired a B swap from another Lemons team, and then that was the end of that car. I don't think it ever got done.
I was about to ask, does it drive differently? We might have to talk to Phil about that, but if it doesn't drive at all, then I guess it does drive differently.
It's just gone, because there was some story about he then gave up and gave the entire car to a Lemons team, and then it racked up parking tickets that all went back to Phil, which is never sell your car to a Lemons team.
I think that's ultimately the takeaway there.
Yeah. All right. Next up. Oh man. Yep. Back into
Marquee,
Uncle
yeah.
Buck land. Yeah, it's some kind of marquee or something. Boy.
You know what's great about this is if it is, as noted in the comment, a 78 Mercury, this is the Ford was the last of the big three to downsize. So they built these absolute land barges up until the brink of the 80s. And
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, man. I guess it's funny because I think you and I are both of an age where these cars were kind of a joke by the time we were paying attention. They were all clapped out. They looked like this in 1986.
Right.
But I guess there was a time where it was like kind of a status symbol. Like, you watch Goodfellas or The Irishman and, high level mafia bosses were driving around and stuff like this. So I don't know. I think that was a short lived period.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a lot of the Lincoln things going on here, like the weird slab side and the side marker light that's also incorporated in the bumper. Super weird.
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing. All right, next up. Ah, man, staying in the same family. Now, you say that Ford was the last to downsize.
Yeah.
Was it an LTD wagon?
Yeah, it looks like it, which would have been seems like the Fox one, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, God, this was bigger than the Fox, right? Like,
it might have been the Panther then. Look at the overhang in the
rear. Because I think this was like the wagon version of the Crown Vic, which they may or may not have called the LTD. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody in the comments will know.
Someone in the comments will definitely know. It's a classic American, like, we must use this nameplate that has brand equity, and we overuse it so much that we kill all of its brand equity. So
correct. Yeah, there's a few notable things going on here, by the way. I love the color keyed egg crate grill. That's a nice touch.
That is nice.
The gigantic square headlights.
Yeah.
The sidewall height of approximately Mount McKinley.
Yeah. That's Denali.
Yeah. Thank you. And then I think the third row seats, they didn't have the jump seat that faced rear in the Fords. They had the perpendicular seats that faced each other. I think.
Just like you're about to, go to war in the Balkans.
Beat the hell out of your brother. Basically.
Yeah, I'm sure that there were incidents as a result of that configuration.
Yeah, totally.
All right,
set up to fail.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Comanche. Ooh, a long bed Comanche. Man. Well, for the longest period of time, our landlord over there at the former Lemons HQ had a Comanche that he bought. It was already abandoned, and then he re-abandoned it in front of our building, which was, very convenient for everyone. He had grand plans for it, and obviously none of that ever happened.
Yeah. Cool neighborhood, looks like, by the way.
Yeah.
Old part of Houston.
Yeah. Houston Heights, it says. I have a fairly low opinion of Houston, but that admittedly is colored a lot by the fact that we go to Angleton to go to the race, and I'm not sure that it's a fair representation.
We are in the middle of the hurricane floodplain. Everybody get the hell out of here zone, and it kind of smells like it.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah,
it's quite a place. All right, next up.
Oh, baby.
What?
That's an Interceptor.
Yeah, it is missing its back glass.
And it has, oh man, the internet's gonna freaking implode. By the way,
so many questions. I mean, talk about pre-themed for your 2-car Lemons effort. We've never seen, and I don't know. I don't even want to dwell on that. Like, how does that even happen where there are 2 cars with the same custom paint and one of them's a Jensen Interceptor?
Yeah.
But we've never seen a Jensen Interceptor in Lemons, and this is the second one that I've seen in really abandoned, terrible condition. The first being one that Jay bought on eBay, and it was kind of the early days of eBay. I think before. It probably had like one picture, and they got the engine is rebuilt or whatever, and it just Jay's like, well, yeah, I got to do that, and it was just the most horrible rusty piece. That was the car that sat in the spot that the Comanche eventually sat in later. It's like a abandoned car. Yeah, Jensen Interceptor would be a hell of a Lemons car.
I mean, it's absolutely one of those cars that has this lore about it as this amazing thing, and then really it's just this rickety built British thing with way too much motor.
So
it'd be great for Lemons, basically.
Yeah, perfect.
Go find this one and bring it and be in Class C with a priceless classic.
Right. Anger everyone on the internet.
Yeah.
All right. Ah, man, we're
back to the generics.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're into Judge Phil territory. We've mentioned this before. Judge Phil has some somewhat inexplicable obsession with Korean cars, and yet he doesn't own one. There's a lot of talk and not a lot of walk in that particular topic. I think the Amante is one of the ones that gets mentioned fairly often because, the base model Kia and Hyundais, they're just whatever. They're a little cheap transportation. The Amante was one of the first where we're like, no, we're also actually a luxury car. And, they kind of weren't at the time. And so, thus a perfect car for Lemons.
Yeah, boy, the Kia approach to luxury is certainly an interesting one. This one is like, you can't see the front, but the front was like Mercedes E-Class. It's the dollar store Mercedes E-Class with some Jaguar butt and, whatever else is happening.
Yeah.
But, when they eventually went to building a flagship, they built, of course, the car that nobody in the world's heard of, which is the K900. Which Phil insists also is a hell of a car.
Yeah.
But if anybody in the world is paying $70,000 for a Kia,
so I have a friend of mine who is Korean. His parents are from Korea, and they're fairly well off. And once Kia started making, I think it was like the first Hyundai Genesis that came out. And, between national pride and having some money, they were like, we should go out and get one of those. And they promptly went out and got a Mercedes E-Class. So, if they're not buying one, I don't know who is.
Yeah, exactly. Man, Infinity can't sell cars. I don't know why Kia thinks they can sell flagship luxury cars.
Exactly. All right. Next up. Oh, no. I thought with the black wheels, I thought it had no wheels in the thumbnail. Well, this is right up your street. This was your first Lemons car.
Yeah, I had a this is a second gen Escort, like a 91-ish. This actually might be a third gen. The wagons are impossible to tell apart.
Yeah.
I won't bore you with details, but yeah, kind of great, terrible cars.
Yeah.
Unkillable, I think is the word I've heard. Although this one's trying pretty hard. I mean, it is basically a Mazda protege that Ford license built with their own. It was the CVH motor, which means something, but basically vibration and harshness were the actual meanings of it, because it basically drives like a rock tumbler.
Common vibration and harshness.
Yeah. They did sell a few of these with the Escort GT engine, I think. Maybe those were just sedans, but we took one of these and put a ZX2 motor in it. And boy.
Well, and that's the ticket for Lemons Racing is, in the grand scheme of automotive dumb, that's not a very impressive swap, but in the scope of Lemons, it's super doable. It's affordable. If you have problems, parts are readily available, and the resulting product is pretty reliable and decently quick. So, if you're looking for just sort of a kind of reliable, dependable, decently fun to drive and somewhat competitive Lemons car, that's not a bad way to go.
Yep. At the last race I was at, which was Road Atlanta, which this should be coming out pretty shortly after that, there was a team of motorcycle racers with an Escort, a base model Escort like this, and they were like super into it. So, no horsepower at all. I mean, they were 90 from the factory, but whatever, weighs nothing. You can pitch it into corners.
Yeah,
good learning car.
Yeah, definitely. Buddy of mine had one of these in high school, and it had horribly bald tires or something. He's driving on the freeway in the rain, hydroplanes and pit maneuvers a Porsche 928, so he, as a result, he punted the 928, but then recovered and then went to the breakdown lane. The 928 spun 8 times and hit the center divider. And at the time that was a fairly new 928. He said it was the later S4 version, so it was like a 5-year-old car at the time. And a 5-year-old car that was $100,000 when it was new. And when he told his mom about the crash, he said, well, I'm sure they're going to make an insurance claim and whatever. And his mom goes, well, what kind of car did you hit? He's like, I don't even know what it was, Mom. I don't know. He knew exactly what it was. Absolutely. That was a 93 928 S4.
Oh, brutal.
Man.
Well, it makes sense because the Escort weighs 2,200 pounds full and a 928 weighs about 7 tons.
Yeah,
so,
it's true. Yeah. Once it started going, it was just going to keep moving until it hit a mountain or something. Yeah. All right. And that Escort lived on. He gave it to his sister, who drove it for another 10 years after that. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Next up. Oh man.
Is that a Caravel?
Wow. What is a Caravel?
It's some kind of stretched K car, which I think this is.
Yeah.
Boy, these things are extinct.
Yeah, that one looks nice too. It's got some aftermarket wheels going. God, it's big. I mean, I was sort of somewhat aware of a big K car, but seeing one in person, which God, I don't know when the last time I would have. There was another one called the 600, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was the 400, the 600, the Caravel, and who the hell knows?
Well, in any case, luxury version of the K car. I mean, we've mentioned this before, is that the K car in a lot of ways was ahead of its time. You could have a minivan and a big luxury sedan on the same platform. The execution maybe have left a little bit to be desired, but the idea is not a bad one.
Yeah. Yep. Haven't had one of these in Lemons. In fact, the only actual K car we've ever had is the K car, the notorious Plymouth Reliant.
Yeah, I think it was
Aries, whatever it was.
Reliant wagon. Yeah.
The wagon. Yeah. which we've been threatened with it reappearing someday. So,
oh man, yeah, that's, we've said it before, worst Lemons car of all time. You know,
Yeah.
not joking around,
and not even close.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
All
right.
I think that's 10.
That's 10. I've got the hooptiest. Boy, there are some choices. I've got to go with the Jensen Interceptor because it was one of the definitions of hoopty is something that was great at one time, you know, like, I mean, that like if you have a big old Cadillac that's terrible now, you know, at some point that was like somebody's pride and joy. So the delta between what it was new and what it is now is what gives it the quality of hooptiness. And, you know, a coach built Euro American performance GT that now looks like this is pretty hoopty in my book. So that's the hooptiest.
Yeah. Boy, the Lemons build, there's some good ones. Obviously, we talked about the Lark. Lost Nick, but that's all right. I'll try and get this one through. The Marquis, also fantastic car, but I think this is the daily double of Lemons, wherein we need the Jensen Interceptor.
Yeah, I don't, Eric, I don't know if you can still hear me, but
Yep.
I totally agree. We've never seen one. It's amazing. You know, we talk about how there are cars that we have never ever seen in Lemons, and that is a diminishing list. But out of every one of these 10 that we do, there's always one. So yeah, it would be a first time Lemons car, and an awesome one at that. So there you go. Build one for Lemons.
100%. Boy, I think that's it's going to take us out. And thanks for joining us for Lemons Car Spotting. If you're watching this and it's airing when we think it will, have a good holiday, and we will see you guys next week. Be sure to tag your stuff, Lemons Car Spotting.
Oh man,
imagine that truck pulling a trailer with the same paint
with that car
on it.
Yeah, be a hell of a thing.